friends, thanks for tuning in. We're going to be chatting about bronzer today. Favorite bronzers. I thought, wouldn't it be fun to give a top 10? And then I started to create a top 10 and I'm like, it's apples and oranges as I try to sort out my favorites among powder versus cream and liquid. So I'm going to rank my top 5 for powder and also rank my top 5 for cream and liquid. But I'll be talking about their pigment, their tone, ease of application, also the value I think comes into play with my favorites. And yeah, it's just that time of year where I'm wanting to kind of boost the glow a little bit. I feel like when I do my makeup, bronzer's a little bit more on my mind as opposed to just a step that I do and kind of pass through. Now I'm really thinking like, okay, what am I going to do for bronzer? And I am wearing a couple of the bronzers that I'm going to be mentioning on my face today, so I'll mention those when they come around, and I'll also share my face of the day before everything's done, because I did a little olive green eye, and I like it. Yesterday I did a turquoise eye, and today we're coordinating with the shirt and rocking some olive. But yeah, let's start with the powder bronzers and work our way from 5th to 1st place. So even higher favorites status as I go. Got it? In 5th place, here's what I'm going to say. The Milani Baked Bronzers. So Milani recently relaunched their baked line, and the bronzers, actually, the more I use them, the more I'm impressed by these. I remembered saying in my original video about the baked stuff, how the shade 01, technically like the lightest shade in the line called Amalfi Glow, this gives more than you would think. Even someone with my skin tone and definitely shades lighter would really enjoy, I think, the effect that you can get from this. And they're so smooth as I touch it, like just really, really soft. It's not a product you're going to scrub into with your brush. You're going to lightly dip, but it's just going to be surprising, that shade, how it can kind of work into the contours of your skin and really give a beautiful bit of gentle contrast to skin tones that are light to medium and then going lighter than that. And then here's another one that I would use a lot, maybe even more of a favorite than this one. This I'm just shouting out like, hey, it does more than you think it will, but 02 Tuscan Tan would probably be my top favorite. Let me hold them both up so you can actually see the difference. This is a little lighter, this one's a little richer. Just the smoothness when you get it on your skin, you know, it doesn't look dry and powdery, but it just looks smooth. And you might even see the dome and think, well, is that a shimmer? No, these are matte bronzers. Sometimes I wonder, like I look at them and think, is there a little sheen there? But I really believe they perform like mattes. Takeaway here is just great pigment, easy application, don't scrub your brush in, and I think they're a beautiful product, plus the range goes even deeper. Working my way to number 4, it's from Too Faced. It's their Chocolate Soleil bronzer, and here's another line that's kind of had a makeover. You know, it's called Chocolate Soleil Matte Blurring Bronzer, and it does come in a range of shades. This is the Chocolate Toffee one, and I really like this. This is a very sunny type of shade. As I look at some of the other options I've pulled, I feel like a lot of the bronzers I tend to love go toward just a little more brownish place. And this one's got the warmth and sunniness. And anytime I use it, I'm like, yeah, that really does work for me. And the blurring component, you know, it's very matte, and I do see what they're saying with that. Also, it's got that chocolate bar scent like you remember from Chocolate Soleil of the old days, and it's got like a little, I don't know if you can tell it, but there is some chocolate bar like imprint there. Beautiful, compact, luxurious feel. If you don't think this tone is for you, you can browse and kind of look at what some of the other offerings are, but I actually was surprisingly pleased with how well this shade works on my skin and really transforms me from just contoured skin to actually sunny, bronzy skin, but not attracting attention to fine lines on the forehead or pores or anything like that. So really big fan of this one. Number 3, I'm gonna say it's Laura Geller Baked Bronze and Brighten. This would be the medium shade that I'm holding up here. I adore Laura Geller's products. I love what happens in a Baked Bronze and Brighten. You're seeing swirls of rich brown and tan. I swear some of the beigey colors in here might be like baked French vanilla. There's some pink in there as well, and I just love the pigment. I love the richness of Laura Geller, but it's not overwhelming because, again, it's swirled. It just turns out to look so good on my skin every time. This was fully domed up. I've now worked down into the dome somewhat. From a value perspective, I feel like it takes a long, long time, even with a lot of consistent use, to use up a Laura Geller product. When you put a brush in, they're not like flaking up everywhere. You know those products you put on where you're like, yeah, it literally never disappoints me. It's always a winner. That's Baked Bronze and Brighten, you know? If someone was asking me, it started with Laura Geller products, like what should I try? I would recommend whichever foundation based on your needs. Like maybe if you want lighter coverage, get the Baked Balance and Brighten. If you want fuller coverage, get the Double Take. Get a blush and also get the Baked Bronze and Brighten. Just for reference or comparison to the Too Faced, this particular shade that I'm holding, sunnier, warmer. This has the potential to be richer. It's very buildable, easy to work with, easy to blend. Always a fan. Number 2 for powder bronzer. I've got to say it's the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in What Shady Beaches. This is checking so many boxes because not only is it the pigment, the ease of application and blending, just a really good tone where I feel like even in the dead of winter, I could use this softly and love the look, and also it can be perfect right in summertime. But on top of all those great qualities, it's really affordable. It's like less than $5. Friends, I have a drawer full of bronzers, okay? Something where the cap is broken, this could be trash for me and I could just be like, I'm gonna use one of my many bronzers that's not broken. But no, I hold on to her even though the cap broke off. I can start to see the little grid of the pan that's underneath here. I've used this so much. I have still not hit pan. Sometimes hitting pan is like, oh, that's impressive. You've used a product a lot. And other times, wouldn't you agree, the act of not hitting pan with consistently used makeup is also impressive because its little goes a long way. You can count on this one. This might fight with your skin a little bit if you're super duper fair. That's maybe the one asterisk here. This is a little deeper. I do have a shade in this line that's the same formula, the same nice matte pigment, but it's lighter and cooler. But What Shady Beaches, I mean, if you've been with my channel for a while, you know she gets mentioned a lot. Big time fave, and you've got to be wondering now, what's possibly beating that out? It's a relatively new thing to my collection, and it's from Catrice, and it's this butter-like bronze and contour palette. I'm realizing how much I love the separation of these two tones, and this particular shade is so good for me. So think about the texture of butter bronzer, which many of us love that from Physicians Formula. It's soft, you swatch it, you almost feel a little creaminess in that pigment. It's not too firmly pressed, it doesn't take a lot of work to make it show on your skin. It's all those like butter bronzer qualities. Two separate pans though. This shade is called Shape It My Way, and I love how this one is a little warmer, a little more classic bronze. I will talk about my demo when I'm done talking about the creams because I layered this up on top of my top cream product, so hang on for that. But I love this warmer shade, like right up along the hairline. I like this shade really chiseling out the cheeks. I like a mix of the two just going everywhere. It's such a good product. And do you remember like back in the day, we're going back like 10 years or more, and it was like we had our bronzer and contour palettes, and they thought we needed like 8 or 10 shades, you know, in a palette to really take care of our bronzing and contouring. And it did feel fun, but honestly, this is what you need. Like 2 shades. One warmer, one cooler. It's so great to have them together. The formula is phenomenal. I hope this isn't a product that just hops into Catrice's line and then we lose it again. Hang on to this, Catrice. You have an amazing thing going here. Again, it's called Butter Like Bronze and Contour Palette, shade 20, Shape It My Way. Get after that. Now we're going to chat about these cream and liquid bronzers. I know some people prefer this method of application, and if you do, I think you're going to find at least 1 or 2 in this lineup of my top 5 that you're going to really like. Number 5, I'm going to give it up to e.l.f.'s bronzer and contour. It's called the Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour. The shade I have it in is light medium. Now you look up close at this, I could see somebody examining this in the store and thinking, is there shimmer? Because I can like look at the tube and see that, but I don't really see that translating on my skin. This is highly pigmented. I love the product, but it could be a little overwhelming, I would say, if you just go on streaking it. Dot this. Little dots like boop, 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 and then maybe 1 or 2 dots in the cheekbone area. It's very pigmented. It gives you a great bang for your buck. Like this is a product you'd have for a long, long time. But it's securely in my 5th spot in my top 5 because it's definitely not the most user-friendly. You gotta watch yourself. If you can handle that, I think you'll like this. But it's one that really makes an impact. If you've used some of the, I don't know, more moussey bronzers lately and you feel like, you know, I put them on and they just kind of disappear back into into skin, just giving a subtle effect. Now this would be for the chiseling out, the absolute sculpting of the face. And I'm not trying to say it's hard to blend. It is not hard to blend, but you do have to watch yourself more on amount than some of the other things I'm mentioning, okay? So quality product here, drugstore price, and something I think once you get one of these, you'll have it a long time. Next one up from that is another drugstore gem, and it's from Milani. I like these Milani Cheek Kiss bronzers. I feel like this shade called Spicy Season doesn't get enough love. People go for like the shade or two up from this, but this one's really good. So it's just a classic cream pan, but it's gonna blend with ease, and this shade I feel like gives such a real bronze and a really effective contour too. I've got some different formats going on in this category. I just talked about the doe foot. I have some sticks to come. I even have a dropper one. This is your little classic cream pan where if you have a Sephora 56 or a Real Techniques Expert face brush, something of this size and this density level, you dip right in. You just get it going and then you just start blending into the skin. It practically feels like you're using a powder when you do it that way, but the texture is creamy. It looks super natural on your skin. It wears well. And just the depth here, like I think this is kind of the hidden gem within this range. Consider Spicy Season. I think you'll like it. Number 3 is an ultra unique formula here. It is definitely one of a kind in my bronzer stash. I have nothing else that's quite like this, and it's the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Bronzing Serum. I have had this on hand for a while now, and I love it. And it's definitely a product that could be multi-use. I could see somebody blending this into a moisturizer or a foundation, but honestly, the way I'm most likely to use it is just to take out this little dropper, make sure there's not too much on it, usually just using the little drops at the tip, and then just dot it on your hairline, dot it in your contour zones, and blend. It will be your easiest blend because it's a really liquidy, look at it just drop from the dropper there. Ultra liquidy texture. And it does have the butter bronzer smell, but thin, thin, thin. If you're not looking to add any additional weight to your look, I think you'll like this. And I would use the same kind of brush as Sephora 56, ideal for this type of stuff. When we're talking application of the powders with pretty much anything I mentioned there, I would use a brush probably this size, like this is my Sephora angled brush, it's the 93. Morphe's got a great M241 that's rather dense and a little bit larger. I'm into angled brushes for the powders, but Sephora 56 or Real Techniques Expert Face Brush for things like this, you'll be baffled by the ease of blending and a more sheer take on bronze compared to this guy right here, okay? Lastly, we've got a couple of excellent sticks. I think sticks are so simple because you just give them a little streak and then blend your streak out, okay? It's not hard. I have so much respect for the Rare Beauty stick. I have been big time over the years into my M Cosmetics contour sticks and also my Persona ones. I would have to admit that the blending on this is even a little bit silkier, softer, just even more ease with this one. My shade in this is Good Energy, so it's just a stick. You can twist up your stick. It goes on with absolute fullest pigment, thin amount, but full pigment. And I'm not even trying here. I'm light pressure with a fingertip. Hello. You have to give credit where credit is due on that thing. It is mastering ease and pigment. So I love that. And of course, there's a range of shades and there's a nice tight cap. Note how the cap didn't just go on. It snapped, and that is keeping the moisture in this to where it's a product, you know, I've had for sure over a year, closer to 2, and the texture has not changed at all. Terrific product, but in my number 1 spot. Here's where I feel like they've also got great pigment and ease, but also they're giving us a really good value, an impressive value. So if you have not yet tried the Rimmel Multitasker, it's called 3-in-1 Bronzing Stick. I have the shade Tan. I remember getting it thinking, oh, is this gonna be way too dark? Nope, super easy. One swipe, a little more balmy texture than the Rare Beauty. Rare Beauty's almost feeling like it's going cream to powder. This one has a little more moisture in it, okay? But still really great pigment, but just an awesome product. Rimmel is a terrific bang for your buck brand. They have been putting out wonderful things. I wish the brand was more accessible because some people are like, I don't even have it in my Walmart anymore. Check Walgreens, check Amazon, honestly, first and foremost. But I love this stick, and I'll take you to some applications now. I use this today. So the point in my makeup where I'm pulling this in is after I've like set my face, I've used some powder, and then it doesn't matter. This is gonna blend in easily. Streak it across your forehead, blend it in with that Sephora 56 brush. You can sculpt your cheekbones. You can work with the area, you know, on your jawline. I love this there. Note the lack of struggle. Like, it's really easy, but it maintains great pigment. There are some products of this kind. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again. They kind of disappear into your skin. You'll feel like, wow, that blended easily. And then you start to think, but where did it go? And this one is not going to disappear on you. It's going to stay strong. What you're getting for that price, I think, is terrific. So love, love, love Rimmel Multitasker Bronzing Stick. And then I also wanted to show my #1 powder going on. So this is the Catrice Butter Like. I've used this in at least a couple videos recently, but like I said, you got those two tones to play with. You can mix them, you can use them separately. Love the warmth for up around the hairline. I like the more brownish shade for getting a little more chiseled contour out of my cheekbones, but blend them, play. See if you like a little more of one, a little less of another. It's a texture that is so easy to blend, but good staying power here. You're going to see that on your skin all day long. If you're trying anything new from Catrice, let this be one of the things. So yeah, those two things are what are contributing to my bronzy glow today, and I'll let you know what else I have on. I guess I have another thing that's a little bronzy. My True Match Lumique Lotion in Deep Glow. This is acting as my primer today. And when I first squeezed it out of the tube, there was like a little air bubble and some popped out. And I'm like, oh, I hope that just hit my drawer or something. No, it got on Biscuits, my cat. And I'm like wiping bronzer off of her fur. I felt so bad. But that went on first. Then I chose Neutrogena Hydro Boost. I just hadn't used this one in a little bit. The Hydrating Tint. Shade is buff. Beautiful product. Easy blending. Feels like you're giving your skin a little drink. And then Hourglass Concealer today. This is in the shade Bisque. Amazing coverage there. Little goes a long way. I set that with my Coty Airspun Loose Powder. I set lightly all over with my Infallible Fresh Wear Powder. That's in the shade True Beige. Not a lot of that powder on, but just I wanted to feel a little more consistent all over my skin. I did the two bronzers that I mentioned, the Rimmel and then the Catrice, and then not that I really needed to use two, but I just wanted to, you know, let you at least see a couple applications. My blush today is this one from Catrice. It's the Velvet Pudding Blurring Blush in the shade Pink Parfait. Really like this tone. And then my Catrice Aura Glam on top of that. So this is a balm highlighter. I use this shade called A Swirl of Rose, kind of like a blush topper, because as you can see, there's some pinkiness there. So that's what's really giving me the glow right in on the apples of my cheeks. For brows today, it was Morphe Micro Brow Pencil in Java, and I used that Dream Sheen Brow Glaze from Benefit in the deep color. Still playing with this. I wasn't a huge fan of this in the last video, and I still feel like it's kind of finicky, wants to lay down a lot of product. I was very cautious with my application today, but it's still, I'm working with that. I used my e.l.f. Lock It Down Eye Primer, and then this palette is giving me the green today, the Balm Fun Guy Volume 1. I got the green, I got some of this, and like this shade in the crease. Pretty simple and basic 3-shade look, but I love the way it blended and came together. It's like the perfect tone of green for today. Lower lash line, I used some Magnetic Bronze from the L'Oreal Lace Shadow Stick range, and then the ABH Glider Stick in Graphite Glow. I used this yesterday too, just a little on the outside. It's like a shimmery, rich charcoal near black, but in this very approachable shadow stick type format. Lazy liner, upper lash line, it kind of thickens up the look of your lash line, but I only put it on like the outer part, make sure it's blended, you know, where I stop, and then I feel like it's giving me the depth, but it's not taking away from my eyeshadow look, you know? Use Milani Fan Club up top and e.l.f. Lash Extender on the lower lashes. All that's left is my lip combo. I use the Morphe, this is their lip filter. The shade is Petal. So this is kind of, what shade is this? Like classic pinky nude. Use one of the new Buxom liners. This is the shade Bare Canvas. So that's a little deeper than the Morphe, but I just used a slight bit of that on the outside. And then this is e.l.f. Honey Talks. That's one of their just classic Glow Reviver lip oils. No glimmer, just shine, and that's my look. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope this gave you some helpful info on bronzers. Can you tell we're in spring? You can start to see a little like signs of life out the window. Yeah, the sun's coming up. Thank you for watching, friends, and I'll see you soon. I love you. Bye.